Hello friends, I'm Dr. Supriya Rao and today I will be talking about micronutrient deficiency. So in this video, let us see what are micronutrients, what do we mean by micronutrient deficiencies, and understanding and implementation of these micronutrients in our diet. So nutrients are broadly classified as macronutrients and micronutrients depending on the amount required for the body. So under macronutrients, we have carbohydrates, fats, fiber, proteins, and water. Under micronutrients, we have minerals and vitamins. So altogether, these form our balanced diet. So micronutrients, they are divided as minerals, vitamins, and few trace elements like phytochemicals and antioxidants. Under minerals, we have macro minerals like calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, sodium, potassium, chloride, and sulfur. And micro minerals, we have iron, manganese, copper, iodine, zinc, cobalt, fluoride, selenium, chromium, and molybdenum. Under vitamins, we have either fat soluble or water soluble. Under fat soluble, we have vitamin A, D, E, and K. And under water soluble, we have vitamin C and vitamin B complex. So coming to the definition of micronutrients. Micronutrients are the vitamins and trace elements which are needed in amounts less than 100 milligrams per day, but they are crucial in development, production, and functioning of enzymes, hormones, growth regulation proteins, reproductive system, immune system, bone structure, and oxygen binding. Therefore, whenever there is any deficiency of these micronutrients, it can lead to few non-specific physiological impairment like decreased resistance to infections or some metabolic disorders or delayed or impaired physical and psychomotor development. So micronutrient deficiencies can affect anybody. It can affect people who are overweight or obese, and also it can affect people who are undernourished, and that is why micronutrient deficiency does not depend on the quantity of food, it depends on the quality of food. So keeping all this in mind, micronutrient deficiencies can be either a silent epidemic or it can be an emergency situation. So coming to silent epidemic, this kind of situation is seen in developed countries where there is increased risk of growing obesity and there is sedentary lifestyle and lot of chronic diseases and metabolic disorders. So here people, they have food to eat but they do not eat the right food. So that is why it is called as micronutrient malnutrition or hidden hunger. So coming to the emergency situation, these kind of micronutrient deficiency happen whenever there is loss of food crops or food supplies are interrupted or any diarrheal or infectious disease outbreak. Especially during these diarrheal disease outbreak, what happens is during such conditions there is suppression of appetite, but the need for micronutrients increase in those conditions because these micronutrients help in fighting off the disease. They have disease fighting properties. So coming to vulnerable groups who are affected by these micronutrient deficiency, the important, they are the females. So females of childbearing age or who are overweight or who are strictly vegetarian or on a vegan diet and who are not taking proper supplements, and females who are exposed to a lot of drugs and toxins or low socioeconomic status or lack of education regarding nutrition, or women above 65 years of age, or people having poor eating habits or lack of sun exposure. Also, it is important to know that the key women's micronutrients are iron, calcium, and folate, because iron, uh, it supports red blood cells and women tend to lose iron during menstruation. And calcium is also very important for development of healthy bones, and women, they are at increased risk of developing osteoporosis. And also folate, especially during childbearing age, because folate prevents the neurological defects in the newborn. So even children are very prone to micronutrient deficiencies right from the womb, or also a newborn infant and up to the age of 4, that is toddlers. And also old age, they are very prone to micronutrient deficiencies because of degeneration of the body, especially the bones. So they can go for osteoporosis, easy fractures. This can lead to permanent handicap and decreased quality of life. So out of all these micronutrients, the common micronutrient deficiencies are iodine, iron, vitamin A and zinc. Coming to iodine deficiencies, uh, why iodine is important? Because it is used in the production of thyroid hormones, and thereby we know thyroid hormones play a very important role in growth and development of brain and central nervous system. And also thyroid hormone, they control several metabolic processes in our body. So iodine deficiency is the greatest cause of preventable brain damage in the childhood. And these iodine deficiencies can be seen as goiter in adults and cretinism in children. So coming to iron deficiencies, again, important risk factors. They are women who are menstruating or during pregnancy and also in the early childhood. So iron deficiency is the most important cause of anemia. And symptoms of anemia, we know there's fatigue, headache, palpitation, chest pain, and overall there is decreased energy levels. So coming to vitamin A deficiency, important symptom is night blindness. Along with that, there is dryness, especially in the skin and the eyes. And richest source of vitamin A, they are colored food like carrots, pumpkin, squashes, broccoli, and so on. And the main important symptom of zinc deficiency is seen in skin, hair, and nails. So there is hair loss, or there can be dermatitis and also diarrhea. And zinc is also a very important micronutrient to maintain our immune system. Okay, and out of the few foods which are rich in zinc, mushroom is a very good source of zinc, and we also have other foods like pumpkin seeds, chickpeas, yogurt, spinach, and garlic. Coming to other micronutrients, so we have calcium. We already know calcium, the deficiency causes osteoporosis, and also a few other symptoms like muscle cramps, rough skin, insomnia, tooth decay, head sweating, especially in children, and brittle nails. So milk products, they are the richest source of calcium, and also there are few non-dairy calcium rich food, and out of these sesame seeds are a very good source of calcium, and also green leafy vegetables like spinach. Coming to phosphorus deficiencies, they are again they help in building bones, so they are related to calcium. And apart from having pain in the bones, these phosphorus deficiency can also have few nervous symptoms like tingling, numbness, etc. And good sources of phosphorus, again we have milk products and also few nuts and seeds. So symptoms of low magnesium, important is muscle cramp, and also few psychomotor symptoms like depression or hyperexcitability, low concentration, tingling, numbness, or hyperexcitability. Okay, so good sources of magnesium, we have dark chocolates, banana, avocado, almonds, and few other nuts. So sodium and potassium deficiencies are quite rare because our kidneys try to preserve as much as these electrolytes, but at times there will be these deficiencies, especially whenever there is severe vomiting, diarrhea, and heavy perspiration. And the main symptom of low potassium level is cramps. Cramps in the leg is one of the important symptom of less potassium, and very readily available source of potassium is banana. And coming to a few other micronutrients like chloride, sulfur, manganese, these deficiencies are very rare in humans. And copper deficiency, especially seen as hair thinning and lusterless hair, and also few anemic like symptoms. So that's why they advise to drink water or use copper vessels for cooking. Cobalt deficiency very much associated with vitamin B12 deficiencies, and both causes megaloblastic anemia. And selenium is a micronutrient which is very much important in the reproductive functions. And apart from that, it's also useful in immune system regulation for liver functions and thyroid functions. Chromium is one micronutrient which is very important in the regulation of insulin and glucose uptake. So that's why people with diabetes, they can have this chromium deficiencies. Coming to fluorine deficiencies, so especially in areas where the water and soil is deficient of fluorine, we can see these conditions. It affects the tooth, causing decay of the tooth, and also the bones, causing loss of curvature of the spine and few deformities. So it is always encouraged to eat fish which is obtained from fresh water because it is rich in fluoride, and also water is being treated with fluorine in areas where there is deficiencies of fluorine. Coming to molybdenum, molybdenum is a cofactor in several enzymes. We have a lot of enzymes in our body, so many enzymes need molybdenum as a cofactor, but the deficiency is very rare because molybdenum is found in many common foods like lentils, beans, and so on, which we include in our diet now and then. Coming to fat soluble vitamins, we have already spoken about vitamin A, and here vitamin D deficiency. This has become a pandemic. It is seen globally. Even though we take food which is rich in vitamin D like milk products or eggs, there is deficiencies because we are not exposed to sun enough, and sunlight is very important to convert uh, you know inactive vitamin D into active vitamin D. And vitamin D is also a hormone, so the deficiencies can be as simple as a bone pain, or it can have they can have mood swings and depression as well. Coming to vitamin E, so vitamin E is needed for good hair health, and especially it is a vitamin which is important for fertility. Okay, and many nuts and seeds contain vitamin E, like almonds, avocado, cashew nut, sunflower seeds, peanuts, etc. Coming to vitamin K is needed for clotting mechanism of the blood, and a lot of green leafy vegetables are rich in vitamin K. Coming to vitamin B complex, there are many vitamins under this. We have thiamine, niacin, riboflavin, folate, cobalamin. So collectively, these B complex vitamins help to keep up your energy level. It enhances your mood. It keeps your skin and hair health. Maintains it, and also stimulates the immune system, and also prevents anemia. Coming to vitamin C, the deficiency of vitamin C is seen as bleeding gums or bruises or poor wound healing. Okay, and we know citrus fruits are rich in vitamin C, but apart from citrus fruits, we also have bell pepper, broccoli, pineapple, which are rich in vitamin C. So coming to measures taken to reduce micronutrient deficiencies, first thing is supplementation. Okay. Next, we have improved healthcare. So if you identify these deficiencies early, we can treat them better. Next, we have nutrition education. So a lot of awareness programs are conducted by the government regarding specific micronutrient deficiencies, and they are encouraging pregnant ladies to take iron and folic acid tablets during pregnancy, and preschoolers are being given vitamin A supplements, so on. Okay. And dietary diversity, not sticking to particular diet, trying to explore different kinds of food and knowing the nutritional values of different foods is very important. We have crop biofortifications. Here, few techniques like selective breeding or genetic modification is done in order to increase the nutrient values of the crops. And finally, we have fortification. Few examples like salt is fortified with iodine, and we have water which is treated with fluoride, and milk products are fortified with vitamin A and calcium. So these are examples to decrease these micronutrient deficiencies. So finally, a few non-specific symptoms for micronutrient deficiency are fatigue, constant or prolonged hair fall, crippled nails, tingling, insomnia, and irregular bowel. So whenever we have such symptoms, it is very important to identify them and improve those symptoms by eating a good and balanced diet. So this was it. Thanks for watching.